Hi everybody and welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm your host Jason Holland, and today we'll be covering basketball's MIAA Championship, track success at the NCAA Championships, and baseball's rivalry match this weekend. Before we get into the action, make sure to take a second and subscribe to KNWT TV on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified the second that we post new content. Let's get it.
Left to right will take the handoff, and he's hitting to the backfield, breaks loose from one would-be tackler around the corner right side to the 30, 25, sideline 20 to the 15, the 10, the 5, into the end zone, touchdown Northwest. West, Wildcats at the 19-yard.
Been a while since we were last on your screen, but we return with fantastic news. The Bearcats are officially MIAA Tournament champions once again. After beating rivals Missouri Western, Washburn, and Pitt State, the Bearcats found a way to cruise to Northwest's 12th MIAA championship. With an average margin of victory of 19 points, there was never a doubt that the Bearcats would claim their 8th MIAA championship in 10 years. In the championship game against Pitt State, it was once again the duo of Bennett Sturts and Wes Dreamer leading the way as they combined for over 40 points. But the basketball season wasn't over just yet as they headed to Mankato, Minnesota for the men's Division II NCAA Tournament. They're riding a 16-game win streak as they enter into a matchup against Southwest Minnesota State, who earlier in the season handed them their first of 4 losses on the year. This week, our producer decided to join in on the fun of making packs for the show, so let's get right into his attempt at saving Chicago sports. Take it away, Killian.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Killian Beck, and yes, I look exactly like this. Before my tragic injury, I was on pace to be drafted into the NFL. So with the help of Madden, we are going to see what would have happened had I had never torn my ACL. For starters, I was actually going to be the #1 overall pick, and my high school coach believed that the game was on rookie mode. So of course it translated to the NFL despite the 4-year gap of me not taking a snap. Due to the poor decision making of the Chicago Bears organization, they've actually lucked into landing me. For a change, Bears management made a good decision by not playing me in the preseason, so my debut was delayed to a home matchup against the New Orleans Saints. It took almost no time to assert my dominance as I had amassed 6 touchdowns well before the end of the 3rd quarter. I would finish that game with the single game record for both passing yards and touchdowns. This kind of performance would have been the greatest ever, but it was just the beginning for me. Midway through the year was more of the same, as I led the league in yards and touchdowns by a wide margin. But in week 8, I would get my first true test as the Packers were keeping pace with my flamethrower offense. After forcing me to throw my first career interception, I found myself down 3 late in the 4th quarter. It would take just 4 plays before I sealed it with an absolute bomb to Velus Jones Jr. Ending the regular season with a record of 17-0, we were the #1 seed in the playoffs and received the bye. I ended up accounting for over 50 touchdowns while earning the league's MVP award. En route to the Super Bowl, we'd see a rematch of those pesky Packers. However, this matchup wouldn't be as thrilling as we sliced and diced the Packers in the snow. A daunting matchup against the back-to-back champion Chiefs meant it wasn't going to be an easy game. We even faced an early deficit in which the Chiefs would go up 10-0. The Chiefs would make it a battle to the last snap as we needed every one of my 6 touchdowns in a 3-point victory. We became the first team to finish a season undefeated since the 1972 Dolphins. But after the Super Bowl, I decided to retire and return to Northwest to complete my degree so I could find some sort of challenge in my life. In comparison, going undefeated and winning league MVP was far easier than completing a sports media degree at Northwest.
Thank you, Killian. Now switching over things to the women, as the women's basketball team headed to Bethany, Oklahoma this weekend for the beginning of the NCAA tournament. After falling to Fort Hays State in the MIAA tournament, it was the Bearcats' chance to get revenge. But it just wasn't their day as the Bearcats would shoot for just 30% from the field in the 15-point loss. It was a hard-fought end to the season after a hot start, and on behalf of Bearcat Update, we would like to offer our congratulations to all the athletes who poured their hearts into what was a special season. But if you're in the mood for reminiscing, then how about we discuss the rivalry with Missouri Western? So let's get right into it. Take it away, Tayden.
In previous rivalries for Northwest, Pitt State and Truman State are just a few hours away. But this week, let's talk about a rivalry that is a lot more close. The Northwest Missouri State Bearcats and the Missouri Western State Griffins is a rivalry closer than you think, as both of these teams are only less than 50 miles apart from each other. Some people may not consider this a rivalry, as Northwest has dominated Missouri Western many times in the rivalry's history. But with how close these two football programs are and how they are in the same conference, this is still known for being an intense rivalry. September 19th, 1981 is the day the Bearcats and Griffins rivalry was born. Missouri Western would beat Northwest 20-8 in their first matchup, but once again, throughout this rivalry, Northwest would win most of these matchups and are holding the all-time record of 32-12 against Missouri Western, including the playoffs. And currently, the Bearcats have a 10-game win streak against the Griffins. Over the years, many players have been a part of this rivalry, donning the green and white or the black and yellow. Players like Sam Roberts and former NFL player Seth Wan from Northwest, or Jonathan Owens and Greg Zerline from Missouri Western, just to name a few. These players put on their helmets and gave it their all out on the field and gave it all for this rivalry. If it's either Bearcat Stadium or Spratt Stadium, this rivalry will always stay closer to home. In 2010, this rivalry brought on a huge crowd of fans, as there were a total of 10,805 fans at Bearcat Stadium, which is the largest in the stadium's history. This upcoming season, the Griffins will host the Bearcats on November 9th. Will the Bearcats make their win streak go to 11, or will the Griffins pull off the upset? Either way, this will always be one of the most well-known rivalries in Division II football. This has been Taden Hensley from Bearcat Update.
Thanks, Taden. It was an eventful NCAA championship weekend for the Bearcats as they secured 2 national champions, 22 individual All-Americans, and broke 5 school records. For starters, Tiffany Huey had a massive weekend as she secured a national championship and a school record in the women's 400 meter. In the 4x400 meter relay, it was an ensemble of Chloe Sains, Kaylee Harp, Luceris Toledo, and Tiffany Huey that claimed the second national championship of the year. As well as the national championship, they would break the NCAA Division II indoor record in just about every honor one could receive. Bearcat Update offers our congratulations to all 22 All-American honorees and the athletes who represented the Bearcats well all season long. The track and field team isn't the only ones going through its off-season. The football team has been diligently working since the season ended. So our reporter Luke Matthews is going to show you what they're up to, so take it away, Luke.
In terms of last year to this year, what I really see is wide open doors. Previous year that I've been here, previous 2 years, it seems like spots have kind of been filled already. What we were going into with the off season, we really kind of knew what we were bringing back. We had production coming back, and this year there's not a whole lot of that. It's a lot of open doors, a lot of opportunities for pretty much anyone that wants to see the field. There's a lot of grit. There's a couple chips on people's shoulders as well, and how to get out there, how to play. Last year, I felt like a lot of the drill work that you were supposed to be getting in was on your own. There wasn't quite the accountability aspect, and I also think it was kind of like a chemistry thing too. People preferred to be out on their own. This year, what I'm seeing a lot of is guys getting out together, whether that's young guys getting with more experienced guys so that they can really learn how to run a route, a concept, film sessions, whatever it may be, meetings together between the quarterbacks, the running backs, the tight ends, receivers, all of us getting together, going over walkthroughs in January. I think we had our first walkthrough. Also, 7-on-7 has been big, getting with the defense, really just get that competitive nature going right away. So after a 7-4 season, I don't know if I would say the workouts are harder. I would say that the intensity is greater. I think there's more driving people in workouts. And I think part of that also, especially in our room, is those open doors, those open opportunities to get on the field. Within the receiver room, there's just a lot of people pushing each other. us getting matched up with each other in a group has really allowed us to compete against each other. I will say Joe Q, since I've gotten here, has been someone that has just really shown me that I'm capable of way more than what I thought I was. So I think, bringing that mentality into workouts obviously has made them seem not as tough, but there's definitely more intensity. Jake Weber being a household name, I couldn't tell you how long it would take. What I can tell you is that I don't really care how long that takes. I didn't come to Northwest to be a part of a 7-4 team, some superstar that would be posted all over the newspapers or whatever it may be. Obviously, I want to make plays and I want to win games. That's what's more important to me. So as long as Northwest's football team is a household name, I want that pride of Northwest to be back within the city of Maryville. I just want that pride of Northwest to be more so the household name. Let's talk about the football team.
Thanks, Luke. But Jake Weber isn't the only athlete you're going to meet today, as our own reporter had a chance to chat with senior catcher Lauren Gray of the softball team. So rather than tease you, we'll get right into it. Take it away, Wesley.
Hello, I'm Wesley Miller for Bearcat Update, and welcome to this week's edition of the Bearcat Beat. After 18 straight contests on the road to start the season, Northwest softball was able to finally enjoy the comforts of home with doubleheaders against Nebraska Kearney March 9th and Fort Hays State March 10th. For catcher Lauren Gray, it's the next step in her senior season with the Bearcats.
I really enjoyed my time here. I really loved my experience here. I've loved my coaches, my teammates. I feel like every team in the past 3 years have had a lot of fun.
Northwest softball is coming off its most wins in a season since 2017 during the 2023 campaign.
I want to leave a program better than when I found it, and our first year it was a struggle. Coach was new. We were all adjusting to that, and so it was definitely like a learning period, but I think now we have a pretty good expectation.
While Gray was able to enjoy her first games at Bearcat softball field, she started her senior season with a historic bang.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. It was all a blur.
In the season opening 15-6 win over Ouachita Baptist February 2nd, Gray hit 3 home runs, which now stands as the best single game mark in program history.
The third time it happened again, and I was like, okay, great. It was surreal. It was something I'll never forget. It was nuts, and my teammates hyping me up. I felt like a special girl the rest of the day. It was awesome.
Sitting 2 games above 500 now, Gray and the rest of the Bearcats look to build momentum and make the program's first MIAA Tournament appearance under third-year coach Naomi Tellez. That's all for this week's edition of the Bearcat Beat. For Bearcat Update, I'm Wesley Miller.
Thanks, Wesley. Northwest softball has gotten into a good rhythm this season as they started spring break by splitting a doubleheader against Nebraska Kearney Lopers. In the first game, the Bearcats took a victory 4-2. Shout out to junior Lily Filger and sophomore Alexis Brown for going 3 for 4 at the plate, as well as bringing in crucial runs. The Bearcats would not be as fortunate in the second game as they would drop the game 3-2. Quick highlight to senior Sophie Mayhew for knocking in 2 RBIs for the Bearcats' only 2 runs. The Bearcats didn't let that shut them down as they shut down Fort Hays State in a doubleheader at home. In the first game, the Bearcats won 6-1 thanks to a 2-run bomb by senior Sophie Mayhew, as well as senior Lauren Gray, who launched her own homer in the 6th. Furthermore, Northwest would shut out the Tigers in the second game 3-0. One of these runs was courtesy of junior Skylar Piper, who blasted a home run in the 4th to aid in the shutout. Unfortunately, on Saturday, the Bearcats dropped both games against MSU Moorhead, with the first game being lost 1-5. The duo senior Layla Bryant and freshman Avery Mayberry are your highlight of the game, one scoring the only run for the Bearcats the first game. Second game didn't fare well either, with Northwest dropping game 3-9, Currently, the softball team is even with a record of 12-12. Northwest softball will host the Minji State Sunday the 17th, but you can hear the results next week here on Bearcat Update. We are always glad to catch up with our Bearcats, but just like they're on break, we will be joining them and we'll be right back to see you have what it takes to be the first baseman and meet a cheer team once again. Stick around.
Here at Tower Yearbook, we are a dedicated staff of photographers, designers, copywriters, and practicum students.
Our staff is a student-led, student-run media outlet, producing a book with over 300 pages. Here to pop out at any of our portrait or distribution events.
So stay tuned to our social media to see what's up.
For years, it has been Channel 8 News, the station that has kept the Northwest and Maryville community informed. Although the image has changed, the mission has not. It all happens here, every Monday at 9 a.m. on KNWT TV. This is Northwest News.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. After a promising 6-3 start to the season, the Bearcats have won just 2 of their last 13 games. But after riding a 7-game losing streak, the Bearcats would host a rivalry match against the Missouri Western Griffins. It was a successful homestand as they took 2 dominant victories by a total score of 27-9 between the 2 games. On Saturday, the team managed its 11th double-digit scoring effort, all possible as 8 different Bearcats recorded hits. After the Bearcats snapped the losing streak, we figured it was fitting to understand what it takes to be an MIAA first baseman. Take it away, Zach.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Do You Have What It Takes? My name is Zach Scott, and in this segment, we're going to answer that spur-of-the-moment question when you look at the TV and say, yeah, I can do that. Today, I want to ask you if you can be the behemoth of the bags in an MIAA diamond, also known as the first baseman. Let's get into it. Now, to be an MIAA first baseman, you will need these key skills. Now, you also need to embrace your inner gymnast and get some of these throws, where you're going to need to stretch out and really move your legs. You're also going to want to perfect your pickoffs that are going to be helpful for the pitcher as well as for crucial outs and highlights, as you can see here. But most importantly, you're going to need to have a solid bat. You're going to want to put the fear of every single person into that swing every single time for the possibility that you're going to hit it over the fence. Now, the skill set of an MIAA first baseman is what I just explained. But what won't let you on an MIAA diamond is going to be right here. Letting balls roll right past you because you thought the second baseman had it is one thing that'll get you benched very fast. Now, how about not covering the bunt because you and the pitcher didn't communicate correctly? Now, the last one that we here at Bearcat Update want to stress to you is to just touch the bag to get the out. Don't ever tag the runner. Just please do me a favor and just touch the bag or you will not be an MIAA first baseman. But what skills can you take to make shots at first base MIAA worthy? Let's look at this hypothetical where we see Wake Forest playing against LSU in the College World Series semifinals. What we see here is Wake Forest's first baseman, Jake Winry, show off some skills that you may want to put in your repertoire. In this first play, it's the bottom of the first and the first hit of the bottom, where we see a hard bounce grounder that will make Winry show off the first skill, which is placement. His placement on the bag allows him to stretch out and get this possible passed ball that he saves for a single. That would have been a double if it passed by him. Now, in this second clip, we see it's the same inning where Winry makes another great play with the ability of scooping and vital skill in a first baseman's bag. So if you want to take a shot at first base honors in the MIAA, take a look at this. With the inning going haywire, there's a grounder to the third baseman that makes, once again, another awkward hop. The third baseman catches it and fires, but it's almost going to skip right below him. This shows Winry's amazing scooping ability that saves the ball once again for first base honors and a nice catch. Now we can all agree that that's a great first baseman. Now do you think you can hang with them here in the MIAA? Comment down below and tell us here at Bearcat Update if you have what it takes. That's all the time that we're gonna have here today, and we will be able to see you next time here when we talk about what it takes to be an MIAA second baseman. Take it away, Jason.
Thank you, Zach. As previously said on the past few episodes, this season on Bearcat Update, we've been granted access to the cheer team. Our reporter Jake Walker just happens to be on the team, meaning we get to meet his teammates one by one. Take it away, Jake.
Welcome back to Meet the Cheer Team. This week, we're going to stay on the co-ed side of things and take a look at another one of the guys.
My name is Jackson Ozan. I am a junior here at Northwest. I am studying management information systems, and I am a co-ed base.
Before last year around this time, Jackson's knowledge of the sport was very minimal, but when opportunity called, he was ready to answer.
The thing that got me started with cheer is yours truly behind the camera. We lived together when we were both sophomores in college. I had just transferred here from Wichita State, and he kept bothering me, hey, you should come check out cheer, you should come check out cheer. And then in February of 2023, I was like, all right, fine, checked out cheer, absolutely loved it, and then I tried out for the team last April, and here I am.
Despite never having thrown a stunt before last March, Jackson has grown significantly in his time being a Bearcat cheerleader, both physically and mentally.
I am incredibly proud of the improvements I've made since joining the team. I went from zero cheer experience ever to being on our nationals mat, throwing elite stunts and doing pyramids I didn't even know were humanly possible. And to go from 0.0 to where I am now in 8 months has been incredible for me.
With 1 year until a bachelor's degree, Jackson has no plans of slowing down anytime soon. In his case, joining the sport late may have been a benefit for him.
I definitely plan to continue to cheer at Northwest now, especially since I have the eligibility with not starting to cheer until my junior year of college. I'd like to continue cheering while I get a master's in information systems and possibly even a doctoral of technology, just because that's possible for me to do with how late I started cheering.
Being a guy in cheer, Jackson was aware of any possible stigma that guys may have if they want to join a program that is mostly considered a woman's sport.
I really regret not doing cheer in high school. I've really enjoyed my experience in college, and I really wish I'd given it a shot back then so I could have been doing it for years now. And I just really feel like there's a lot of guys in this world who have the proper builds to be really good at this sport, but they're so worried about what other people might think of them that they're not even willing to give it a chance when it's really incredibly fun, and it's probably, individually, it's the hardest sport I've ever had to do.
That wraps up our time with Bearcat Cheer. We're going to swing this one back over to your host. Take it away, Wiley.
How long has it been going for?
I don't know. I just turned it on.
Thanks, Jake. I'm Wiley Ray. Stick around to get an in-depth preview for basketball's NCAA Tournament outlook after closing out the MIAA Tournament. We'll be right back.
KZLX is a student-run radio station where Northwest students have complete freedom during their shifts. KZLX also hosts many radio shows such as Nerdmageddon, Revive, Day-to-Day Picks, and more. To learn more, visit kzlxfm.com.
Hey guys, I have the new season of Gen 2.
Yeah! Get over here, let's check it out!
Oh, you always gotta blow these things out. Alrighty guys, gather around.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update with the X. I'm Wiley Ray, the lone wolf in the studio today. Cade is enjoying his spring break, and Jackson right now is in Mankato cheering on the Northwest men's squad. And, let's just take a quick look at the MIAA tournament and some postseason action. The women's squad found their way as the 2 seed and in the semifinal round of the women's MIAA tournament, where they fell to a familiar foe, being Fort Hays State 49-56, making it a 1-1 record on the tournament. 3 Bearcats made the MIAA All-Honors list this year. Jana Green earned All Defense. Molly Hartnett found herself on the 2nd team honors list, and Kaylee Keston earned 3rd team honors. And now when you look at the season, it really wasn't short for the Bearcats. They found themselves in the first round of the NCAA tournament this year, where they also saw an MIAA conference foe, Fort Hays State, and this season has been a great one for the Bearcats. A 23-8 overall record, a 2nd most MIAA wins in program history for this Bearcat squad, and they earned the number 2 seed in the MIAA tournament, which has been 6 20-win teams in the MIAA in their first tournament appearance in 13 years, and just the 5th one in the last 33 years. This squad only gives up 4 seniors, and they've been some good ones for the Bearcat squad as they look to find themselves back in the MIAA tournament and NCAA tournament next season. Now, moving on to the men's tournament. As you can see, the Northwest Missouri State men's team found themselves with their 12th MIAA tournament championship as they marched their way through the tournament, averaging 78 points per game and giving up only 59 points per game en route to the 12th title. The MIAA player of the tournament wasn't Wes Dreamer, but it was Daniel Abreu. Daniel Abreu putting on a clinic, 17 points and 8 rebounds, averaging throughout those 3 games. And then they're looking to make their way back to Evansville as they walloped Southwest Minnesota State in Mankato for the first round by a score of 73-43. 4 Bearcats in double digits on this one as Daniel Abreu led the way with 17, then Mitch Muscari with 16, Wes Dreamer with 15, and Bennett Sturtz with 12. And Bearcats looking to play a familiar face as they take on the number 10 NCAA-ranked Minnesota Duluth in the 2nd round. And here are some keys of victory for those Bearcats, starting off with the first one being a scoring frenzy. 4 Bearcats or more scoring 10 or more points a game here in this one, and the Bearcats looking to make things happen. You got Wes Dreamer averaging 19 points a game, Bennett Sturtz 15 points a game, Mitch Muscari with 10, and then Daniel Abreu looking to break that 10 points a game barrier at 9.2. So Bearcats knowing how to pass the ball around, they know how to move everything around, and that right now has been this Bearcat squad's bread and butter as they look to make their trip back to Evansville. The second one, rebounding and second chance opportunities. This Bearcat squad, we had the opportunity of covering them in the MIAA tournament for KZLX, and it was a great turnout for both squads, both teams, and a great performance for the men's in the rebounding game. They just knew how to control the floor, they knew how to rebound the ball, and when those shots went up, there was 4 Bearcats around the rim getting the rebounds, and what's turned out to be a bunch of second chance opportunities, and that's when you start to see the Bearcats averaging those 78 points per game in the tournament. And the third one, you gotta let us fly. They fly around with a lot of effort and intensity, and there was a great time in the game where you saw Isaiah Jackson dive towards Washburn's sideline to go get a rebound, and then Daniel Abreu going towards media row, trying to keep the ball alive and the offensive possession alive for the Bearcats. And when you look at that and you look at this team coming into the tournaments in neutral site zones, there's nothing that can stop this squad when you look at that and you look at how much they fly around and how much effort and intensity these teams have. And the fourth and final one for this Bearcat squad is a chip on the shoulder. They missed the tournament last year. They got beat out in the 2nd round on their home floor. They missed the 1st seed due to Minnesota State getting the 1st seed, but as the number 2 seed scoring 73-43 in your opening round and now playing a number 10 Minnesota Duluth, there's got to be a chip on your shoulder going in to that Central Region Championship for the Bearcats. You gotta be able to suffer some adversity and be willing to overcome it. But that'll do it for Bearcat Update with the X. I'm Wiley Ray, and I'm going to send it back to Jason Holland in the studio. Take it away, Jason.
That's all the time that we have for Bearcat Update. I'm your host, Jason Holland, and you're watching Bearcat Update, the provider of complete coverage of Northwest sports. We're live every Sunday at 1:15, and you can find us on YouTube at KNWT TV. As well as Bearcat Update, you can also watch all of KNWT TV's other content.